Greg, I want to start on the game tonight. What did you think was the key defensively, really throughout, and kind of making it difficult for Sacramento to get open looks and rotations on the perimeter? What was the key there?
Well, I just think our guys really had a high level of attention to detail with executing the game plan against one of the hottest offenses in the league. Sacramento over the last few weeks is the number one rated offense in the league. And we had great concerns about what Fox was doing, what Buddy was doing from the perimeter, and there are other role players as well, Barnes. And our guys, just played with great tenacity, attention to detail, and really just had a gem of a defensive performance tonight.
And offensively, I want to specifically ask you about Kuzma and just how efficient he got his 30 points, what you saw from him on that end and how much growth that he's shown being able to step into a number one role on given nights like this.
Yeah, well, we didn't read well against the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's frustrating. We felt like we could have and should have won that game. They're a good team, but we didn't read defense very well and take what the defense gives you. And that was a major point of emphasis offensively for us. In the film session yesterday and in our shooting work, our individual shooting work that guys do. And, I thought there was growth there by our whole team, but I think Kuz, was one of those guys that, when he reads the defense better, he gets cleaner looks, knocks a few down, and then he starts feeling it. And, got really hot for us and was a huge part of the win.
And Frank, Mark Gasol didn't want to share specifics of your conversation, but he said it's a tough pill to swallow for somebody that wants to play. And yet you saw how we played these last 5 quarters since Drummond's been out. How would you summarize that and just how it fits into context with everything?
Well, I think people need to understand how good of a player Mark Gasol is and how valuable he is to what we're doing. And, we're gonna play our most important players. So he's going to help us win a championship this year. That's the plan. That's the vision. Obviously Andre coming along, gives us the depth. But we're going to need all 3 of those guys. We stated that from day one. And, Mark's one of our most important players. He dominated the game tonight with 5 points. Okay. And this is what Mark brings to the table. He's a dominant defensive big, former defensive player of the year, and he doesn't need shots offensively, which is good for our group. He facilitates. He wins the offensive possessions with his passing and his 3-point shooting, and that's not always going to result in 20 points per game, whatever, but it helps us win. And, it just, we all just need to recognize how important he is to what we're trying to do here. And, like I said, we're going to play our most important players. So, we're excited about what he's going to do for us down the stretch.
Brad Turner.
How you doing, Frank?
Good, BT. How you doing?
Doing great, man. How much has Kuzma's defense evolved to the point that you put him on Buddy Hield, who's a really good outside shooter, and kind of hurt you guys the last time y'all played them?
Kuz plays hard. That's the simplest way to put it. I've never had a problem with, when you have a guy like that gives maximum effort on the defensive end. There's going to be certain matchups that, they're challenging for him that are, that you can say that about any player. But when he brings a high level of focus and a high level of defensive intensity and effort, he's going to more than survive out there. He's going to help our defensive proficiency, which he did tonight. And, Buddy's a matchup, in terms of chasing shooters. That's a good matchup for Kuz. We felt good about that. He did a great job. Our bigs did a great job on Buddy. Being up, it was a team effort to slow him down a little bit. But, Kuz deserves a lot of credit.
Dave?
Frank, Mark was clearly frustrated when he spoke to us and was pretty honest and forthcoming. I wonder, in your role, how do you allow a player to have space to go through the emotion of the news of a lineup change while keeping them connected to the group? And also, is there anything you've gone through in your coaching career that's similar to this? I was wondering if, I don't know it chapter and verse, but what Roy Hibbert and your Indiana Pacers team maybe went through in terms of his role changing and how you manage that in your position.
Yeah, I have been through situations like this. You coach the game, it actually pops up a lot, in different levels, whether it's starters or reserves or whatever. But additions of good players change other guys' roles, and it usually all works itself out. It really does. And I would say that the same thing about this situation. Again, I'm not going to go into the conversations that Mark and I have had, but the approach is full support. Like it's difficult to see that your role is going to change. How can we support you? You know what I mean? And make sure they understand that, they're a vital piece. Like Mark is a vital piece to us winning the championship this year, and there's no other way to look at it other than that. So, you just support your players in every way that you can. The front office does, the coaching staff does. And, you look for opportunities like this where he comes in and, he's a huge part of this victory tonight, and like I said, he's going to be a huge part of our championship run.
Kyle?
Hey, Frank, obviously KCP is one of your starters and one of the most experienced guys in the lineup, but with the exception of maybe the Philly game since the All-Star break, he hasn't really popped on offense maybe. What sort of was different tonight? Has there been any sort of coaxing from you or anyone else to kind of get him in a more active role in the offense? And then what can happen to make this a more consistent thing for KCP specifically?
Well, KCP's been struggling, and, I want to take some blame for that, because when AD and Bron go out, KCP's role with those guys in the lineup is, to defend and to hustle and to run the floor and knock down open shots when they come. And sometimes he gets a lot of them and sometimes he doesn't, and that's okay. But just to play through that. Okay, with those guys out, I haven't talked to KCP about this, and like I said, it's where I take blame, but I talked to him pregame tonight and said that we need him to play more of a scoring role with those guys out. And I want him to be more aggressive, both in catch and shoot, attacking off the bounce, mid-range pull-ups, like whatever he needs to do to give us more offensively. And he responded in a big-time way at a great first half, really set a tone for our group that we're going to go after these guys with our offensive proficiency. And, he deserves a lot of credit for tonight's win as well.
All right, we'll take two more, starting with Rachel.
Hey, Frank. Just looking at Kyle's evolution over this season from a guy who said that he came to you at one point in training camp and said, I don't even know where I quite fit with this team. How would you describe sort of his arc as we're now at the maybe 2/3 mark?
Continues to grow. And, the greatest thing about Kuz's approach this season has been his attitude, his positivity, his willingness to do whatever the team needs to win. And I think you learn lessons when you win a championship. And, I think Kuz learned lessons like this last year, where he's going to come in and, his role's not going to change, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. He's able to do both, but he's going to play the right way offensively, being aggressive, reading defense, making extra passes when it's necessary, and to bring maximum effort on the defensive end. So, I think when you have a guy that has a great attitude every day and brings positivity to your group, with this pure spirit, with the on-court abilities that Kuz has, he's a winning player. And I think we saw that in the championship run last year. And I think we've seen it for most of this year, but in particular now with those guys out where he's able to carry a bigger load. But he's really led our team, from a standpoint of, we're gonna get this thing to be a team first approach where he's trying to make reads and extra passes and play for each other. And ball found him a lot tonight, and he was able to put up 30 points. But he's really making the effort to play team first basketball.
Thank you.
And last question, please, Jordan.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the starting group as a whole. You dominated the rebounds 54-38. Keith has a big game. Marc Gasol has 6 assists. Also, KCP has a double-double. Can you just talk about just the starting group and how well that they played together tonight?
Yeah, they were great. You didn't mention Dennis. Dennis has been fantastic, too. He's playing both sides of the ball with great competitive spirit, shot making, playing for his teammates. I'm not sure how many assists he had tonight, but he was really moving the basketball. And, we had the mindset to come in. We had the size, the physicality, and defensive foot speed to have a great defensive performance against one of the hottest teams in the league. And, that starting group came out and set a great tone, in particular, like you mentioned with Mark, man in the middle. And Keith, I don't think people understand or give Keith enough credit for what he brings to our team with his toughness, his offensive skill set, his ability to guard matchups like Harrison Barnes, which we were having trouble with tonight. Without Keith, we probably, don't slow him down the way we did in the second half. And, that starting lineup was really good tonight.